Hello, and welcome back to UAS3 Training, Chapter 4. In this chapter, we will go through some other features that maybe we mentioned just slightly previously, but now we'll just expand on them a little bit, so you will be able to use the full benefit of them. So let's start with copy and paste. As one example, I can here copy entirely this pump group 1. When I say copy entirely, here you have two commands. Copy structure only, where the structure will be copied but not the data. In this case, I have some data inside, and if I want to make a full copy, I will click copy. I will go one step up, or the application you choose, and I will say paste. As you can see, entire pump group 1 will now be pasted together with data. It will be marked as 1. And if you open it up, you will see that all data is inside. Everything is completely copied. So I will just now delete it so I can show you another option. Another option is in case I have several identical or similar machines with the same configuration, I will right-click here and say copy structure only. So that means that the structure will be copied, but not the data. So in case I have some other pump, number 70 or something, I can use the same structure and same settings instead of doing them all over again. So I will go one node up and I will say paste. The name will be again marked as 1, as a copy, but you can see now that there is no data inside. But everything else is the same. So all my settings are here and I don't need to do them twice. So what happens if, let me delete it just first. What happens if I want to copy it into another tree structure? So let's say I have another process that in my facility that I want to keep in another tree structure, but I have the same kind of machines and at least some of them. So I can copy this pump group. I can say copy structure only, open file, tree structure. Here is my folder, your manual. This is the folder we are working in during this training. And I can say create new. I can call this process 2. So now I have another tree structure. I select it, click open. Of course, there's nothing inside this tree structure. But now I can paste what I copied previously. So you can see my entire pump group 1 is here, with all necessary data, with all necessary settings. Let me show you, just to check it. You can see all my settings are here. Of course, without data. So this will save you a huge amount of time that you don't need to do the same configuration all over again. Quite often you will be in a situation that settings and configuration will be similar in a certain parts of your facility. So let's delete this now, so we can copy something else. The same will happen if I copy this with data. So I can copy it with data. I can move to another tree structure and paste it here. And as you can see, everything is pasted exactly as it was in the previous tree structure. So let me just delete this again. And we can move forward. We can go back. We can go back to our original tree structure. But what happens if you want to send one part of your tree structure to somebody for consulting, for help, to share interesting data? Especially if you have support from your partner in SDT, and he says, okay, send me this machine so I can maybe help you with it. So what you want to do here, that maybe you can copy the entire pump group, and then you can say copy. But now you want to place it in a completely new folder. In this case, you will create a new folder again for 340. And I can call that folder share. And inside, I will call shared assets. So I will now have a completely new folder with a completely brand new tree structure where I can copy something. And quite soon I will explain you what might be the reason for that. So if I open this tree structure, and you will see there's nothing in, but I can paste it. So what I have now is this one asset that I want to share with somebody, but in a completely new folder. So it's not mixed up with all my data. It doesn't have anything to do with the folder I normally use that contains all my data. So what I want to do now is to create a backup of this particular folder and send this backup to somebody. So you will click on Utilities, Database, Backup. Now pay attention to this window. By default, it says Backup all data folders. By backup all data folders means backup absolutely everything you have in your UAS3. This is very important to do once a week, once every 2 weeks, depends. But it's good to make a backup of your data just to be sure if something happens with your computer to have a backup somewhere. So try to do it frequently, try to do it on a regular basis. But in this case, I don't want to backup all data folders. I want to backup a particular folder. And that folder will be the share one. So what is offered here right now is the folder I am in, and that's the share folder. Of course, I can choose any other, but I will stay with this one. The reason for that is because I want to send somebody the backup of this folder where I place this pump group 1, so he can take a look, see alarms, see the data, make analysis, do everything what I can do in my original tree structure. So what I will do now is choose this, and I will say share. And as you can see now, it will be saved on my desktop as a share.backup file that I can later on send to someone. And I will just make a backup. Give it a minute to do the job. And what we did right now is we actually created a backup of the portion of my tree structure, or I can do it with the entire tree structure. Or if I want, I will just go back to our original folder. If I want to share my entire folder with everyone, with somebody, that's fine. You can just back up your entire folder here, that one. But sometimes you have a huge amount of data, and let's be honest, sometimes you don't want somebody to see all of your data. So by doing what I just showed you, you can extract one part of the data, place it in another folder, in another tree structure as well, and just back up that data folder and send it to somebody. If you want to back up this data folder entirely, of course, you can click Database, Backup, unclick this, and back up this data folder with all its content. And all its content means these two tree structures. Probably during your work, as your program matures, you will have a lot of tree structures. Those tree structures might be very big with a lot of measurement points, and you will probably have a lot of data. So it's not necessarily that you will send all the data to somebody, but what we strongly suggest is that you do the regular backups of your data just in case, just to be sure that everything will be fine. So this is about the backups. Of course, when you want to restore the database, so this is the opposite function. So first of all, you will be recommended to make a complete backup. So what I want to do now is to restore a database. So first of all, I will take a look where are my backups, and let's choose this one. So I have my backups. Among this probably will be the backup that somebody sends. So I'll click on this one. I will be shown what's inside this folder. So as you can see, I have only one tree structure. Okay, I want to restore it. warned that if I have that folder from before, that the new one will overwrite all the existing data. As far as I know, I don't have this data folder already. So I will make a restore right now. Just give it a minute to do the job. Okay, so it's successfully restored. Your system will be restarted automatically. Again, we'll give it a minute. Okay, so here we are back. So let's look where that folder is right now. The name was compressors. So here it is. It's a folder with data coming from SDT 270 instrument, but it doesn't matter. So you can see here, I restored a complete database. This database is marked with a red font. Let me just explain for the moment what does it mean. So this is the way your software is warning you that some data is missing. And in original backup, it was done much before this version of UAS3. Interval was not mandatory. So now interval is mandatory, and UAS3 is reminding you that you need to enter interval. As you can see, I enter the interval in this point, and immediately red font is gone. So let's go back to our original folder. Now you know how to back up and restore the data, which is a very useful feature, and especially if you are consulting with somebody or sharing the data with your colleagues, it will come quite handy. Let's go to reports now. So what you can report is tree structure, alarms, work orders or surveys, missed measurement details, all events, and in case you are working with 270 with LoopExpert features or LoopExpert itself, you can also report over a loop consumption and loop consumption comparison between points. So when we say open a report and create a report, so in this case, it's a list of tree structures. So if I want to make a report of my entire tree structure, I can choose also from the current selected subtree, in this case, but I didn't select it, or entire tree structure. I can send output as a text file, XML file, formatted report, and to a clipboard and then paste it somewhere. In this case, let me just show you how does it look in a formatted report. Give it a second just to cook it up. Okay, so here is my report. So this is my entire tree structure. It might come handy if you want to send this report to someone. So let's go back now. You can also report alarms. Again, I have 2 alarms here. And here is my report. And I can also report other things like work orders, surveys, missed measurements, which can be very useful if you want to check if somebody is not doing the job properly, measurement details with all indicators, events, and as I said, loop alarms. There is another feature that you need to know, and it's about export XML or import XML file. Export XML file means that you can export the tree structure and tree structure only with measurement data. So in this case, I can say that I can choose between the training and process 2. You remember in our folder we have 2 tree structures. I can say yes, I want to make a backup of training tree structure. Here it is. I want to back it up completely, but I only want, for instance, readings before 24th of April and the 3rd of May. So this means in particular that if I have a team with several people in it, and we are sometimes sharing the same tree structure, and I want to send you my tree structure, and you have the tree structure as it is now with all the data which is there now. Sooner or later, you will have a lot of data in your tree structure. So it will sometimes take a little bit more time to back it up all completely. But in case we are communicating as a team, this kind of things on a weekly basis, let's say, I just want to send you the fresh data from the last week. So if I'm doing it every Friday, so that means that right now I will choose the date between last Friday and today, and I will back it up and send to you just this tree structure with the fresh data. So that means that all this fresh data will be inserted to everything you already have. So if we are doing this for a year or two, which is quite normal when teams cooperate, you will have all my history data back 2 or 3, 4 years. And it doesn't really make much sense to send you everything. So in this case, I will just send you the fresh data, which will be just inserted on top of already existing data. So if you are working this way, if you are cooperating with your team on several locations, this can be quite useful feature. So I highly recommend you to use it. So more or less, we just came to the end of our training. I certainly hope that you enjoyed it. I certainly hope that it helped you. And if you have any questions, you know where to find us to go deeper and further. Thank you.